Hello and welcome back to the Chatter Cave podcast, where we talk media by reviewing movies and just talking random topics here and there, and of course, occasionally, like this small segment at the start of this,
here
talking TV shows.
Yes.
I am your host, Franklin Tom Shoes. I'm joined by the lovely Hayden, aka Nicolette, and of course, we have a very special guest here today, and Mr. Geeky Bear, aka Alex. He's here for the main segment of this podcast, because obviously we're going to do like a 5-minute bit at the start where he gets to sit back and just take it in, kick back and hope his chair doesn't make a massive farting sound.
I'll just be asleep for a bit, it's okay.
So obviously today's topic is video games, specifically video game adaptions.
Ooh.
Obviously, Alex here for the main talk about video game adaptions, while obviously me and Hayden are very briefly going to give our thoughts and feelings on a video game adaptation that has just literally finished, which is, of course, The Last of Us on HBO Max. Obviously, it's an adaptation of the hit Naughty Dog video game, The Last of Us.
Wow.
Which came out back in 2013. So, 10 years later, we have a TV adaptation. And honestly, it is probably one of the best adaptations out there, being very faithful to its source material. Obviously, there is changes here and there to make it a bit more streamlined for TV.
Yes.
I say realistic as well, especially with like budgetary. Well. So, there is a few changes here. So, there's some big moments that aren't present in the show.
Much as, like infected.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of the big moments that are in the game here. So they're kind of like dragged down for more of like a one big set piece rather than multiple set pieces. And that doesn't bother me. Yes, I can look at it and go, okay, I prefer how the game handled this, because the games are able to drag it out because there's more budget. It's a game, you can do more cool ass shit. But for a dramatized version, it does really well of changing it to work its, work basically. And it is really good. Obviously, it's 9 episodes, was it?
I think it was
about 9 weeks, wasn't it? And each one just felt so good. And as I'm watching it, I can see where the influence from the game is.
Yes, definitely.
I can see where the changes from the games are, and it is cool to get finally an adaptation that knows what it wants to be.
It's very faithful, like even to like costumes and stuff, and like the first episode is literally straight away off the bat. Exactly.
Yeah, there was 9 episodes.
Thank you, Mr. Google. I was hoping my phone didn't react then. Goddamn Google phones.
Could be worse. You could have said the other name.
Oh, I could say yes. I could have said the other name, and it would have randomly spelt right Australian lingo. I changed the voice recognition on it.
I changed my name on mine.
So it's like an Australian voice now.
Mine's a male one. But I've also changed its name properly.
But yeah, it's obviously 9 episodes, so it's... I wouldn't even say 9 hours worth of content, because
each one's different
length episodes. So the pilot and the third episode, the longest episodes, obviously the hour, just slightly over the hour mark. And then the rest are anywhere between 43 minutes and 59 minutes.
Yeah, but the finale was probably
the finale was the shortest episode to date, with 43 minutes. Yeah, you'd think the finale would be the longest, wouldn't you, Alex?
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? Because, I mean, it's got the most to wrap up. It's got, like, the most impact on the movie, well, on the TV show.
No,
you'd think it'd be more...
It is the shortest. It's because they cut out, like, there's a massive part in the game where you're in the subway and it's all watery. Yeah. They basically cut out that entire segment and basically have it go from an iconic moment in the game straight to the big final act. So it kind of cuts out the middleman, essentially.
Interesting.
So it goes to the more dramatized, sad moment over the massive, eccentric set piece. Someone's enjoying his video games there.
It's like, guess what I'm going to talk about?
Guess what I'm talking. But yeah, I mean, Pedro Pascal is the perfect casting for Joel.
Definitely.
Bella Ramsey is great as Ellie.
Yeah, they're perfect.
And a lot of the the
Mhm.
other characters that come into it, the actresses and actors do a really good job of bringing the likes of Tommy to the screen.
Yeah, Grogu was best in it as well.
That's just because that's Ellie's little brother, and Pedro Pascal's got to deliver Grogu at the same time. Because Pedro Pascal played both Mandalorian and Joel.
The exact same.
He's the go-to actor, seems to be, for the let's take this
for
little
delivering.
child with special abilities
Mhm.
to a certain place.
Or also be that child's being hunted.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't recast Hugh Jackman in Logan with
Yeah,
with, Pedro Pascal, so we could take X-23 to the location.
She's old man Wolverine.
Oh, fuck me. But yeah, like, everyone is so perfectly cast, and they do a really good job as well as intertwining the games cast into the show. So obviously you have Marlene, who's played by the exact same voice actress who played her in the game. The Tommy voice actor plays one of the mercenaries in the city part of the game, series. I better say movie series. Obviously, Joel, the one who played Joel in the game, Troy Baker, is one of the cannibals in the last previous episode before this.
And the biggest one probably would be Ellie.
Ellie's obviously playing Ellie's mom in the finale.
Yeah,
they got the voice actress to play Ellie Alex in the game to basically be the character's mom in the show.
Interesting.
It is an interesting way of bringing her into the universe.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird hearing Ellie give birth and like say this baby's now Ellie. And
Yeah, it was quite
"You're Ellie
strange.
too."
It's like an Inception moment.
It's like
Wow.
she's also an Ellie. She's Ellie from the future, and she's giving birth to present day Ellie.
Yeah, exactly. Mind blown. But yeah, they did a really good job of bringing a lot of these voice actors into the show. I mean, even Laura Bailey, who portrays Abby in the second game, is one of the nurses in the finale. So there's a really, which is funny because that's the whole point of Abby's story arc is her dad gets murdered in the finale, and that's why she becomes a psychopath. And in this universe, she's one of the nurses that gets to witness that character's dad die.
What if though? They've also made it so that nurse that she plays is Abby's mom.
But yeah, it's a good drama. It has good horror moments.
Definitely.
It has good character-driven moments, and when it does have the action, which isn't very often, it does it really well. I mean, specifically episode, was it 4? Was it 5? The bloater one. 2 was the clicker one, which is a really good sequence. One had obviously the opening sequence of the game, which was really good and really well adapted to the screen.
Yeah.
I swear it was 4 was when we went to the city for the first time, so it'd be 5, I think. I think 5 was the one where we had the bloater sequence, which is really well done. So when they do the sequences, they are really well done. It's just they're not very as often as the game, which obviously, you know, if you play the game, you can sort of be like, oh, I'm fine because I played the game. But obviously, if you've heard about the game and you're not getting to see a lot of these big cool sequences, you might be a bit pissed. But yeah, obviously, I think they did the right thing with this by having the creators of the game heavily influenced in the show's development. A lot of these video game adaptations, they literally get this, they get the IP and like, okay, we're making our adaptation, and the creators aren't usually as heavy on with it. They usually
they'll add characters from the game.
Yeah, they'll be characters
also add their own characters.
Yeah, and their own spins on the characters. Whereas like this, it's literally the guy who made the game is just like full heavy on producing it. Like he knows exactly how it needs to go. So that is what most adaptations need, not just basically get the IP, get a studio behind it, and just get a director. You need literally someone who knows what the game's about to sit with the writers and be like, okay, we're gonna write this together. I'll tell you what it goes, and you can give a little spin on this, and then we'll see how these connect properly and if it's the right direction it needs to go. Not like something like Halo, when they adapted that recently for Paramount. They basically just butchered it. Yeah, it was kind of entertaining, but they still butchered a lot of what make Halo good. Same goes for the Resident Evil series on Netflix. Yes. I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining, but it wasn't Resident Evil as we know it from the games. Just like how the movies weren't as Resident Evil as they were from the games, but the movies were a bit more like Resident Evil than this show was. The show was more of a drama than it was, well, Resident Evil. But I still enjoyed it for its characters and its use of practicals here and there and
Mhm.
whatnot, and some decent moments. But yeah, you need like someone who actually works in the game to help make
Yes,
a show, a
Mm.
movie.
they could help. They had the vision.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's their vision. You bring your vision into it, and we'll
Mhm.
make it into our own, which is what they did with this. I mean, they had a lot of scenes that are in the game,
Yes.
like there's a lot of flashback moments before the apocalypse, like with people talking about the virus, people finding about the virus.
Yeah.
That's not in the game, but that's in this, and it works really well in this
helps
show.
teach the people about the actual
The fungus
infection itself.
virus and like the fact that
Yeah.
it can't be stopped.
And obviously they do some certain changes to make it fit in the world it is. Obviously they take it back time, don't they? It's like the 90s, don't they?
2000.
Okay, 2000 then.
It's like
But they
the
put
early
it down
2000s.
like year wise, so that it fits around about this time
Yeah, so it's
Mhm.
it's the early 2000s.
in the apocalypse. Whereas obviously, in the game it's a bit more ahead in the future. So you see references to certain songs that be different, and the technology that you see will be different. In the change of like how the infection spreads.
Yeah, so instead of it being like a fungus
Spores.
spore, it's
It's
more of like vines and
Tendril kind of
tendrils,
things.
yeah. Which is why obviously a lot
Mhm.
of the infected have like these weird like tendrils in their mouths, like that stick
Yes.
out the mouths, and there's that really weird scene in like
Mhm.
the second episode
Mhm.
with Tess when she's getting snogged by one of these creatures. There's like a really weird scene, Alex, in
Mhm.
like episode 2, where basically this character in the game obviously dies, and in the game it's just like a basic
Mhm.
executed by soldiers, but in this they
Yes.
do it by the infection. So that's
Mhm.
another change. So instead of soldiers, it's the infection that gets
Yes.
her.
There's
like a
less action.
There's like a really weird moment when this
Mhm.
infected walks up to her and starts to
Mm.
kiss her, and basically the tendrils start going into her mouth, and it's like really weird. Like a lot of people were like really grossed out by it.
Mhm.
It was-
That's the idea, though.
Yeah,
To
that was
make
the
it
point.
gross
Yeah.
and like what we would see as a normal human action. For the infection, that's just the way it passes on.
So
It's an open orifice, easy to get through.
it's a good adaptation. Obviously, there's a lot taken away from it, which
Yeah.
does hinder certain moments. Like
Mhm.
they replace it with other things, but it
Mhm.
doesn't fully take away from it. So obviously, the whole Bill sequence that isn't heavily in this. It's more of just they go
Suggested.
for the obviously in the game. Bill's obviously the heavy on
Mm-hmm.
sequence with the traps and helping them get batteries, and he's part of the big action sequence.
Mhm.
But in the show, they swap it more for like a gay romance angle.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically have like it's actually an hour episode, Alex. They do it. That's like one of the longest episodes. The second longest episode
Mhm.
is basically building these two characters up in their romance, which isn't in the game. Like it's
But it's
Well,
hinted.
suggested, though.
It's hinted in the
Mm.
game, like it's a very brief hint at it. But in the show, they push it heavily and get rid of all the action. They replace basically the present day characters meeting this character and have it more of like set in the past
Mm.
and basically build up their
Yeah.
basically
and they
bond.
find the dead. Mm.
So that's like one of the drastic changes.
Mm-hmm.
So it does obviously take away the action part of it, but it adds the heart to it,
Mm-hmm.
which is a bit different. So it takes away like the big, like gripping, bang bang bang, infection,
Still some
in favour of the more
yeah.
sort of
There is
moments.
still
I mean,
some
there is that
action.
big action sequence where there's like
There's the
fire
fire
and people getting shot
Mhm.
at and whatnot, but that's very like a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
very minimized. Whereas in the
Mhm.
game, this part is like a full on action
Mhm.
part. Near enough, an action survival. So the only downfall of this show,
Mhm.
Ellie doesn't get a bow because in the game, obviously Joel gets the bow,
Yes.
and eventually, obviously, that goes to Ellie for the next game.
Mhm. Whereas this one,
But in this, she
have it.
doesn't. She doesn't get the bow at all.
Possibly we'll
Joel
see
doesn't even get the
Yeah.
bow.
No, Joel doesn't.
There's a
Possibly-
reference to the bow, but it's not actually given.
Yeah, you'll probably
Hmm.
like see in the next series. We see a training with one,
Yeah.
maybe.
That's the only downfall with this.
Mhm.
I'm dreading the second series because I know it's just they're adapting the second game
Yeah,
and they butchered the hell out of my Joel.
but they might change it a bit though.
I fucking hope they're not. We won't change it drastically. I can't see them.
Yeah, there's
The
probably
massive
still
part
kill
of the
Joel
plot,
off,
and say, but she's going to be a bad thing.
but they might slow it down a bit.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
get
there
more
does
Joel at the start, and then go on to it maybe.
depends because I mean the start pretty much got into it straight away. Joel was dead within the first hour, near enough, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like
It could be the end of the first episode.
yeah, basically.
Mm.
So it's just they need to world build. Don't just copy game 2, guys. World build. But yeah, it's a good adaptation. They even get the composer from the game to do the music for the show. That shows how dedicated they are to getting this right, and I'm happy they got it right. Practical effects are great. Like the blow to the clickers, the effects, they look so fucking good in this. The few digital effects they have look really good, and yeah, and that basically sums up my thoughts.
Yeah,
I mean, I could like spend like fucking hours and hours talking about dissecting stuff, but I'm not gonna.
No,
Short but
it was
sweet.
supposed to be 5 minutes, but now it's 15 minutes. 16.
Yeah, but you have to count the intro. We didn't like a free form. It's about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I'm fine with 10 minutes. Fuck off. So yeah, so we rate this then.
Yeah.
Well, very simple. Love it. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So it's probably the best example of adaptation I think I've ever seen.
And it's one that even people that haven't
yes
played the games, don't really play games, can actually watch and get some enjoyment out of. Not, but they might not get like a massive amount of enjoyment. Like someone who knows the game will get probably a bit more enjoyment, but like normal people probably like entertained. So I know someone who's watched it and that they were like, it's okay, they're enjoying it, but it's not like amazing to them. But that's the thing. Whereas something like when they're adapting something else,
like every other like adaptation is always a different kind of story. It follows the same kind of plot, but they do it more drastically different, or
so basically
really
new people can enjoy it, whereas video game fans will basically not.
Whereas obviously with this one, it's a lot more accurate to the game.
It's built more for the fans, but you can get enjoyment from people who aren't fans.
Just a bit different to like enjoy it.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like you're playing the game again.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously 2 10s gives it The Last of Us Series 1, the Chatter Cave overall rating of 10 out of 10.
Wow, you can do maths.
Yes, I can do maths. MVP, Pedro Pascal's Joel.
Yeah, obviously.
Pedro Pascal is just amazing.
The delivery man.
He is the delivery man. That's his new nickname.
Oh my god. If you ever do Death Stranding, get Pedro Pascal.
Oh my god, yes! If they ever did Death Stranding, Alex, I need Pedro Pascal standing with the baby on his fucking in the dome, and that little thing on his chest.
Oh, and the one that plays Daryl can play the baby.
Yes, but the guy from The Walking Dead who played Daryl as a little baby instead. Okay, runner up. I mean, Bella Ramsey is. LA.
Oh, definitely, they were brilliant.
They're both. They work well as a pairing. I was considering just let's just say them both for MVP.
Yeah,
but it's very rare we do the both ones. But I mean. We got a heavy amount of like just Joel being like the emotion, like the sadness, the anger, and everything of Pedro Pascal is why he got the MVP. Whereas Ellie, the snarkiness and whatnot. And I feel like as the series went along, she got better. Whereas Pedro Pascal from the get go was just amazing. Like she was funny at the start, but as it went along, that's when her character evolved to the point of she's great.
Definitely. I mean, probably see in the next series, we'll see her do more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she'd be the lead. She's new Joel. Yeah, basically. Until they start pushing Abby too far in front. Okay, favourite moment. I want to say the clicker scene. I love the bloater scene, but the clicker scene was just like so really well done. The atmosphere, the horror, there was just perfect.
I've got to say, just because how like surprisingly good it looked, and also the fact that you said if like they never had this scene in, you would like give it 0 out of 10. Obviously, the giraffe scene.
The giraffe scene.
It actually, surprisingly, looked really good. I was expecting like.
I did say that. I did
really
say
bad CGI, like off the one in Wolf. Weird, like.
Or the Walking Dead with the fucking deer.
Like really bad, awful. Like what the fuck is that? But it's like we couldn't even. We're trying to debate: is it actually CGI
or is it a real giraffe? Like
they've imposed into it.
Yeah, the Blackwater movies when they impose it into it. I couldn't tell. I think it was 50-50.
Probably a mix as well, no?
50-50. Well, I did say that. I did say I'd give it 0 out of 10 if they didn't put that scene in. Honest to God, I said that. But first episode, I was like, if that's not in the finale, 0 out of 10. I want my giraffe scene. Okay, well,
that's about it.
That's it then. Okay, so we're going to move on now to the actual part, and Alex gets to actually
get
join
involved once.
And not just sit there for 20 minutes just going, oh, that's cool. And every now and again going, oh, gay romance. Right, okay, so yeah, obviously now we're going to be talking about video game adaptations. This can range from live action movies, animated movies, obviously live action and animated TV shows. So movies and TV shows will count here. So obviously we're going to talk about. We're each going to be able to pick one as our favorite adaptation, as our least favorite adaptation, and we can also if we spot one that we think is kind of underrated, that everyone hates, then we can sort of reference that, and just in general talk about why it's a love-hate relationship with these kind of things. And then we can also talk about. I've got our Wikipedia page up with the upcoming sort of slightly announced ones. We can sort of maybe have a look which one we think might be the best one out of there. So obviously, video game adaptations. I looked on this page here, and it dates back. The first proper adaptation is actually a Japanese one, I believe. It was. Oh, let me try and find it. It was a Japanese release of the Super Mario Brothers: The Great Mission to Rescue Princess Peach.
Always the Super Mario.
Which was released in July 20th, 1986. The same day, apparently, as something called Running Boy, Star Soldier no Himitsu. It dates back to Nintendo and Hudson Soft's releasing those two features back in the 80s. Obviously, the first sort of major. Obviously, you had Pokemon, the first movie in 98.
Yes.
But the first sort of I'd say Western sort of one in terms of movies was, ironically, Super Mario Brothers in 1993. The nothing related to the game, just two guys called Mario and Luigi
Mario and Luigi Mario.
Yeah, trying to deal with stuff. I think you're going to be labeling that as your worst.
Yes.
I think from the get go here,
I am traumatized. I think
from the get go here, I'm just going to say you're going to label it as the worst.
It is the most awful.
It is the worst adaptation. It is one of the most baddest adaptations of trying to adapt something to screen.
Yeah. Goomba, that massive big mushroom with really tiny legs, is just a really big guy with a really small head. You're actually just a fucking raptor.
Yeah, see, obviously, I understand the hate for this movie. I mean, on it says Rotten Tomatoes. Also, I think this is critically 29%, which obviously isn't the lowest, actually. I'm looking at some here, which is actually even...
Street Fighter.
That's the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie with Kylie Minogue.
Oh my god. Even worse? No,
yeah, that makes sense. Wing Commander's quite low. It's the Freddie Prinze Jr. Matthew Lillard one. They both were in a video game adaptation. But yeah, obviously, I understand the hate for it, but I honestly didn't watch this movie until 2020.
See, that's weird for me because I watched it as a kid.
You watched it as a kid, yes.
And usually you watch a lot of shit films.
I've honestly, God, never bothered watching it. I heard so much bad stuff about it, but knowing just never asked to watch it. You hear so much bad, but he's kind of I just literally couldn't be asked to watch it. But, guys, come 2020, I picked it up for a couple of quid. I was like, fuck it, I'll watch it. And I watched it, and I was like, I understand the hate, but I found it quite funny bad, if you know what I mean. The likes of Sharknado and Sharktopus, they're terrible, terrible movies. But there's enough there for me to laugh at to go, I honestly can't hate it as much as a lot of people do.
There's no entertainment whatsoever.
I just found it so funnily bad, and especially when reading into it, the fact that both of them were pretty much drunk the entire time we were filming, that I find even more hilarious.
You have to wait to be in that fucking shit show.
Honestly, I got a rank of the video game films I've watched, and
it's basically
I mean, it's low. I mean, I worked out of what I've seen. I've seen about 76 video game films, according to this. That includes the Pokemon movies me and Alex obviously covered on the channel.
Yeah.
And according to this, it ranks at 61, so it's very bottom. It is very low, but there's a lot of really trash ones that are lower. But honestly, I just found it funny bad.
Whereas I just found it so bad I can't even watch it ever again.
But it is quite funny that the fact that this is the sort of beginning for Western culture in terms of video game movies that they released. And then the funny thing is, then the one that's literally right next is, it's not next, it's animated. To be further down, is the Mario one.
Yeah.
So Super Mario Bros in '93, and then ironically, almost 30 years, is it? No, 40. No, it's 30 years, is it? Yeah. Ironically, almost 30 years later, we get another stab at Mario, this time with Chris Pratt as Mario.
Yeah. So, again, starting from the bottom, then ending at the bottom.
but
with Chris Pratt.
it actually looks pretty decent. Though.
It does though.
It does look pretty
It
good.
does.
I
It
think-
looks really good.
Have you seen the recent trailer for it?
Yeah.
The whole Mario Kart sequence.
Yes.
Yeah, with the little star that's like a fucking depressed little bitch. That's
Oh, he's
just
like, you should have
We're all gonna die.
Yeah, that was funny. That was.
Mm.
I think the only thing I didn't like with the trailer is the sport the Donkey Kong assistant Mario.
Yeah, and also
Mm.
the fact that it's got Chris Pratt as Mario.
They showed a bit too much, I think, in the recent trailer, but he definitely looks
Yeah.
like something I kind of want to watch because it does look kind of funny. And Illumination! They usually do pretty decent films.
Say that.
Despicable Me. Grinch.
Mm.
First Secret Life of
Minions.
Pets. Minions is alright.
Yeah, anything that makes a emoji movie is not worth it.
Yeah.
Apart from
True.
that, that's their down part. Every studio has a bad taste in their
They
mouth.
got Patrick Stewart and made him a piece of shit. What the fuck? They got Patrick Stewart and made him a shit emoji.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone butchers an actor at least once.
You don't touch Patrick Stewart. He's the one you don't touch.
But yes,
Well, they touched him and they covered him in shit.
there is obviously. I mean, I'm not even going to bother trying to count this. Like, the amount of fucking adaptations there are out there for video
Yeah.
games.
There's loads.
There's a ridiculous amount. Like every studio's took a stab at it. Nintendo's tried. I mean, if you look at this, Nintendo's tried first, and the next time Nintendo tried is Detective Pikachu.
Jeez.
Uh.
Like
Literally,
live
according to
action.
this, like in terms of live action, obviously
Mm.
they tried with the animated ones. They moved to animated
Yeah.
rather than live action. In terms of live action, literally, according to Nintendo, didn't do anything until literally Detective Pikachu, which came out in 2019.
Mm.
So they literally, it took them like over 20 years to even go. You know what? Let's attempt this again. Let's actually try and be a bit more faithful. Let's give sort of what fans want to see, which is
Yeah.
PG Deadpool.
So, the best part of that fucking film?
Obviously, the only studio really that was like constant is Capcom. By the look of it,
Yes. Because they obviously did a lot
Mm.
of Resident Evil.
because Street Fighter, they say every Resident Evil movie,
Mm-hmm.
basically Resident Evil and Street Fighter. Those are the two
Yes.
things that are thrown out constantly. So there's the Monster Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So they're the ones that constantly, according to this list, are the ones that were kind of thrown, like actually attempting to
Yes.
make it. There's a lot of other studios, but they were trying to make like stuff that weren't massive IPs, like
Yeah,
Wing Commander. I never really heard of that.
same.
Double Dragon. I've kind of heard of Double Dragon, but not
I
fully.
swear it's a kids show, like an animated kids show.
Alone in the Dark. I know what that is. It's dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's like stuff. There's a lot. There's a lot of ones that aren't big now. Were big
Yes.
back then, but not big now. That were given the
Yeah.
chance to try and shine
Mm-hmm.
and showed that they shouldn't have been touched because that is terrible. Whereas now it's they kind of look at it and they're picking like obviously the big names like Hitman, Need for Speed, the Silent Hills, Resident Evils, Mortal Kombat, Monster Hunter, Sonic,
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon, Uncharted, Assassin's Creed. They're picking the big ones, and it at this point now it's kind of become 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
You get an announcement of a video game movie, you see a trailer, you look at it and go, "This can either be an actual
Yes.
really
It can
solid
make or
adaptation,
break.
like say like the Sonic and Detective
Mm.
Pikachu. It can either be entertaining and
Yeah.
decent, or it
Yes.
can be as
Or-
caca-poo-poo as like the last Resident Evil film, the final chapter,
Yes.
or as the second Silent Hill movie. It can be caca-poo-poo.
Yes. Or it could be just like meh. Like Assassin's Creed was
Yeah.
alright, but it wasn't like
It was
it wasn't a
decent enough.
masterpiece.
What the fuck just happened then?
It could
Alex, what you clicked?
What you
Connor,
playing,
get
mate?
in the fucking chat! I'm kicking him.
Kick him.
Get out the fucking chat, you're ruining our recording!
It's not bad.
God damn it, Connor.
So I can weird orgasm.
I'm kicking him.
Yeah. Fucking. I think your first thing is to blame Alex.
What
Alright.
the fuck what was the trash?
I don't want to know.
Get the hell out of here, Connor!
Not bad. He's gonna come back on. Isn't he?
He's gonna come back on. I don't know why. I'm sorry, Alex. I knew it wasn't us because My
We didn't
Discord's
touch
covered
it.
with OBS, so I knew it wasn't us.
And you're thick as shit, so he's like, oh, I bet that fucking Alex.
I just thought you clicked something. I apologise. It was Connor coming on. Sex noises. We apologise, people. Connor will be punished at work tonight with a big spanking.
Oh, you can use my dildo if you want.
I don't know how that's punishment for him. He's
He'll love
into
it.
this weird stuff. What were we talking about? Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
It was
Meh.
okay. Like it got
Yeah.
some stuff right, but it got a lot of stuff wrong.
It was basically... That's a good concept, like, they were able to do...
It was
the
entertaining
animators-
to an
animators, yeah.
extent, but it just it didn't capture the full essence of
Yes.
Assassin's Creed.
They had the idea of going, oh, let's make our entire, like... This is our new Desmond character. He's going to have all these different assassins. We don't get to see it because it didn't do as good.
Whereas you
Sure.
look at something like I'm looking at this list here. Tomb Raider.
The Mario movie.
Yes.
I'm going with Tomb Raider here.
Okay, my bad.
The 2018 adaptation obviously captured
Mhm.
the gritty survival feel
Of
of
the actual, the newer
the
games.
newer Tomb Raider games.
Yeah, as well as the old Tomb Raider films.
Captured
were more
the
goofiness.
of the old
Yes.
games.
The goofiness and very, like... They're also very...
Yeah, the
at
whole
time-
idea of locking that guy in the getting chased by the butler
Yes.
and locking him in the freezer.
I mean,
Connor's
to be
favourite
fair,
part of the
though,
game.
Like, the Tomb Raider films, the original ones, they feel more like the classic generic action films.
Yeah.
Not like a game adaptation. Like The Matrix and, like, Blade. There's that kind of same kind of feeling to it. Like these sort of the cool slow action
Yeah.
action moments, and then the very overly sexualized, like, costumes for Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
So I feel like with some games you can get away and with like making it your own, trying to spin
Yes.
something new.
Like Sonic.
Like Sonic, yeah.
hmm
Like they kind of took the idea kind of from
Get Sonic, but put it in our world.
Yeah.
Sonic X. It kind of took that sort of concept.
Yeah, yeah.
Brought it, like made it a bit more kiddier and a bit more,
Yes.
as you say, it's family friendly essentially.
Mhm.
Whereas you look at something like Monster Hunter when they adapted that, and it's just like, okay, you got this Monster Hunter world, people with
Yes.
giant swords, weaponry, like that sounds so cool. Yeah, we've also got this military group that accidentally gets stranded there, and you know the one who's banging the director is going to slowly learn to become one of these monster hunters and fight these monsters,
This
and it's just
Yeah.
like, why didn't you just like focus on
that world
like you could have you could have had her in it,
as the
as, like, the already-
training- that's someone who's
or like
trained
a
to
rookie
become one.
hunter.
Yeah,
not just go, yeah, we're gonna like have this monster, like it's gonna be like, oh, there's a portal that can bring it to our world. It's like,
You've
Is
done this
there-
with fucking like
any need for that?
there's other like fucking films that print the exact same concept of that as well, but like they already are coming into our world. Like fucking
any-
Pacific Rim.
Any disaster, any sort of monster movie is the case of
Yeah.
they're coming into our world. Look at like the Turtles, the second film, when they're trying to bring the terror,
Yes.
the fucking what's the machine called? The big fucking the dome thing with the eyeball on top. Fucking Krang's fucking Technodrome.
Yes.
And he's trying to bring that into this world, and it's just like, or like when they're bringing Cybertron to Earth in the Transformers movies. That's been done so many times, and there's like, let's do the exact same thing, but with like a really good thing like Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Let's like, yes, we'll have the monsters here, have some okay fights with these monsters, but like, the whole concept is now the monsters they're trying to bring the monsters into
Yes.
our world. It's just like,
It's like
you could have done that so much better.
that the world that was in already could
Yeah.
still be in danger.
It's just the
It'd be like making The Witcher. Yeah, have all these amazing creatures and stuff. But instead of it being about Geralt and focusing on like the Witcher world, it's those creatures from The Witcher come into our world.
yeah, basically.
It's like
Yeah.
Like literally makes
Mm.
Monster Hunter makes the old Resident Evil movies
yes.
look incredible in terms of adaptations.
Mhm.
And they're not, because they don't adapt it properly.
yes.
They did a thing of kind of bringing in like an audience surrogate, a new character,
Mhm.
and you follow them through this franchise of all the characters from the games appearing in very minor roles here and there. It makes them look so good. And then they're okay and entertaining,
Yeah.
but they're not
Yeah.
great examples of adaptions.
Especially Resident Evil, because Resident
The-
Evil is
the
basically
first one,
getting
yeah.
all these characters that like from the game, butcher them so that you make your own original character that you create yourself because it's the girl you want to like
Bang.
bang and stuff. and then go, oh, this is the main character for all the films. All the other characters you
That's
in the
basically
games
what she did.
will just sprinkle them around and make you think, oh, that was shit.
That's basically what you do with Monster
Yes.
Hunter. That's the exact same thing you did with Monster Hunter.
Mm.
It's the exact same thing with two different game franchises. The only difference is Monster Hunter had actually really decent CGI. That's the only good thing that film had going for it, was its special effects for the monsters were really good. Everything else about it was just like, what was the point? Like, Monster Hunter World is such a fun game, and there's that Monster Hunter Ride or Rise or whatever it's called, and I kind of loves that game. And I haven't got around to playing it yet, but those sort of games are really cool concepts. It's just they butchered it, bringing it to screen. And so they did with the Resident Evil films, they butchered it, bring it to screen, and they say they've got the characters all sidelined and whatnot. But
the main character is still quite interesting to watch.
Yeah, and it's still pretty fun. Obviously, then they remade it, which you literally just watched. You watched the remake,
last night.
And they basically went, okay, we're going to use all the characters from the games, the ones you love. Great. We're also just going to adapt the first two games into one big movie. None of these characters interacted in these movies. No. We're going to do it.
Make one character will actually be really, really cool, and the other one that's supposed to be really cool, a whiny bitch.
Yeah, they just... like it was more faithful. There's a lot of shot by shot. If you literally play the game, watch the film, there's a lot of shot by shot scenes from the game in the new movie.
Yes,
but it's just the concept of a bit more, so you can it's there. It's just the fact that they butchered a lot more around it, and they rushed it. They tried to put two games into one. That's always a bad sign. Never try and adapt two games into one fucking movie.
Yeah, it's quite bad. Like, it should always be like their own separate ones.
Like I was saying to Hayden, I was reading with this new Resident Evil film. Like, when the last people before it were like attached to make it, they were actually going to do a sequel. Obviously, it's going to be a brand new thing, which I say is kind of what the old Resident Evil films were. But it was still going to follow on with characters from the games.
Yes.
You know, like the newer games.
The Ethan Winters and
obviously the Seven and Village. It was going to obviously ignore Village. Village wasn't a thing at this point.
Like, to 7.
So it was going to follow on from the ending of Resident Evil 7 and show where these characters went.
Yeah.
But then the studio, not the directors or the company, like the studio itself that were behind it was just like, oh no, we don't want that. The game's too new, it might fail, and basically bullshit excuses. And then obviously they hired these new people. They were like, okay, we're going to adapt the old games. And they're like, okay, great. And they gave them like a $40 million budget and then slashed them down to $25 million. They had to budget cut the director.
So much more mutants.
There was a lot more monsters that were meant to be in it. There was a lot more they were going to do. And they had to cut it all down because the fucking studio budget cut them.
I mean, it's always the way, isn't it, really?
Studio interference heavily is what fucks these things. Like, literally, a lot of times, the people making them actually know what they're doing. Not all the times. Obviously, Resident Evil, for an example.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, the people that sign onto it, they know the game, they know what they're doing, they want to make this, and then the studio comes in and starts hacking and slashing until it's gone.
Yeah.
Like,
and
not
then
even
when
game
it
adaptations.
fails, they go, see, we told you to fail.
They blame it on the director and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's not just video games that do it. Superhero adaptations, like comic book adaptations. Look at Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
The director had his vision, made a dark movie. Studio, they put the trailer out. People thought it was really fun. They liked the music.
Yes.
Studio comes in. No, we want it to be like this trailer. Make it all like this trailer. Everything you've done that's connecting it to this other movie that came out a couple of months before, fuck all that off. We want it to be this. And then it comes out, did okay at the box office, critical and audience disaster.
Yeah.
And then it's just a case of, okay, we're going to reboot this entire team now going forward. So it's just a case of, it's not just video games adaptations that do it. A lot of other adapting source material from elsewhere, it does it that way.
Like The Witcher.
Like The Witcher. Obviously, Henry Cavill,
the only one who was being faithful.
he wants to adapt the books.
And the writer's like, no, we do our own stuff.
Yeah, the writers are basically trying to adapt their own things, whereas he wants to
Yeah.
adapt
Yes, and there's an example of showing the difference between him being the one like, I know we haven't done like this, and the writers is the special they did, the Witcher special they did. So the origins of all Witchers. We watched.
No, the Blood Origins.
Yes, that's it.
The mini series.
Yeah,
it's called the limited series. It's called it there.
Yeah, so that they showed that, and obviously you can tell there's like it's just the writers doing what they want to do, and it's not as faithful and
So the books.
yes.
So literally any sort of, like, let's say it's not just video games, it's comic books, it's actual novels, even like adapting a TV show into a movie.
Yeah.
a lot of times they're not faithful enough to its source material.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with audience that have grown up with this thing,
Mm-hmm.
they've enjoyed it for years and years. They've not been faithful to what these people have wanted to see. Like everyone has their vision of what they want it to be,
Yeah.
and then it's so drastically different. But then everyone who had this vision originally, there's so many more people who saw the exact same idea for this.
Mm-hmm.
And then when obviously they see what the studio have done, there's like, okay, it's nothing compared to what we had in mind for this. Like, there's so much more you could have done with this.
Yeah. It's always the way.
Exactly. Like, I'm looking at this. I'm trying to pick one off here. What we got here? Like Doom. For example.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what the first game of Doom is. It's literally just one. From a character's point of view, going around shooting demons, yada yada. Even the remake they did recently of the game from 2016, that was a straight up. You follow Doom guy as he's going through this very minor story. It's not a major thing. The main concept is this banging tunes in the background and like you just gunning down every sort of monster with every weapon. The gore you destroy is
just killing loads of demons to camel dancing.
Yeah. And then obviously when they adapted the first time, they were just like, let's like use a famous guy in the form of The Rock, and let's try and just basically make this generic action horror movie.
Yeah.
It turned like this like a basic premise into a more generic. Like the game itself, the idea of just running around shooting demons is very generic, but they made it even more generic action movie.
Yeah.
Like it's
they
like
could have
any
added a story.
It's like any other thing. The best part of that movie is literally the first person scene.
Yeah.
When you see the main character. Well, you don't obviously you think the Rock's the main character, but then it's obviously the other guy. When you see him become the main character, that one scene when he goes first person, that is the best sequence in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair to Doom, the sequel that they did, which has nothing to do with the first one, makes it look like a masterpiece. Just to be fair to it, but that's what I mean. Like that is a very. I don't know how difficult it is to get something like that. Like you don't even have to have your main character talk.
Mm-hmm.
Literally just do a full on action romp. Like you can have like characters around them talking to drive the story ahead, but all you need is one guy, guns, chainsaws, rip and tear, banging tunes, simple as. And it showed it with the 2016 adaptation of the game. It showed how easy it is to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was wasn't it in that Nicolas Cage movie where he didn't talk at all in the movie?
Yes, the
it was that Five Nights at Freddy's rip-off one.
Yeah, Willy's Wonderland.
That's it.
The one the one that was, I think, based on a Five Nights script.
Yes, the original script.
Like,
they changed it.
Originally, it was I mean, that's the same with the Banana Splits movie. Originally, it was a Five Nights at Freddy's failed attempt to bring it to screen, and then they just adapted it into its own movie. Yeah. But yeah, exactly that one.
Like, it was a good movie. Like, he didn't need to talk at all.
Yeah, the other characters around him. Exactly, he had the other characters around him driving that story ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, which kind of what I if they did the Saints Row one, I kind of wanted to do that for the first one.
Just adapt the first
game. The first game is just
you don't speak
at all until the very end.
Yeah, just adapt the first game. But yeah, it's just like it's an easy thing to do. I mean, see, I understand the changing things here and there to make it work, but sometimes it works without those changes. I mean, sometimes they do. You can get away with the change. I mean, the recent Mortal Kombat, for example. If you look at the original Mortal Kombat movie from 1995, which is funny because that's made by the same guy that made Resident Evil, that followed a tournament, which is the basic premise of the game. Whereas the new one, it introduced a new character to the universe and basically had the tournament in the hindsight, and that's obviously going to be more the sequel. But that's fine because a lot of like Mortal Kombat games add new characters to it. So it works that it's a new character that you can sort of get invested with as the audience, and it builds up this character, and it doesn't take away from these ones around it. Because Sonya was still a big part of it, Jax was still a big part of it, Sub-Zero was a big part of it, Scorpion was a big part of it, and even like little characters like that you don't really see that much of, like fucking I can't think of her name, the bird lady, the one with the big like vampire type bat wings sort of thing. Kintara is something like that. Like characters like that aren't that big, but they're useful here just to add a body to the count. Yeah, like you can get away with like showcasing a character like this because that's what Mortal Kombat really is. I mean, it wasn't really till the newer games have started adding this flowing story. The old games are literally just fight, do. So you can get away with adding a new character and trying to follow it onto them. So that's why I like that movie. But whereas something like Doom, like you're getting rid of Doom and going entirely from the franchise, focus on The Rock and Carl Urban, like, and then even the second Doom movie, Doom Annihilation, it follows his female protagonist, and it butchers the source material even fucking worse. It's just like, I remember talking to Con. I think it's in one of the reviews we did on the. I spoke to him about the Doom game. I've literally stated. I even said it earlier. Doom Annihilation makes Doom 2005, yes, look like the greatest movie of all time. Like, Doom Annihilation, it's one of 3 movies that I'd say are the worst video game adaptations for me.
Yeah. I mean, what about Pixels?
That's not a video game adaptation. That's more of a film focused on a video game plot. On this list I have here, there's a segment at the bottom of this list.
Yes.
That refers to films plots centered on video games, and if I go all the way down,
so like Ready Player One and all that kind of
Free
stuff.
Guy.
Yeah, Free Guy, Ready Player One, Jumanji, Tron. Those are basically movies that are video game inspired, but in terms of plots, but they're not actually full on video game adaptations.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But even Pixels is better than the second Doom movie. Just saying.
That's saying something. Pixels dog shit.
That's it. Exactly.
That's why I mentioned it.
Exactly. It's still much better than the second Doom movie. Don't watch it. It's a straight to DVD. Trash heap. Even my shit in the toilet looks more beautiful than that movie did.
That's saying something.
Exactly, that's saying something.
Especially if you have milk.
Especially when I've had milk, yes.
That image is not what I wanted to know.
Yeah, but it's still better than watching the Doom movie.
So, what would you say is your favourite one then?
My favourite, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I obviously, let's say, I was looking at my list, and it's annoying there because I'm trying to work around the animated ones.
Yes.
But I mean, my top 5 literally includes 3 Pokemon movies, a Mortal Kombat movie, and obviously a Sonic movie.
Yeah.
But in terms of live action, I would say if live action alone, it'd be Sonic 2. If it's animated alone, it's gonna be the Darkrai movie of Pokemon. But say if you count in both, I'd say Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It was just such a fun movie. Like the first one, obviously it got a lot of hate very early on when they showed the very dodgy ass Sonic. Which, to be fair, has worked in our favour because we got the really funny moment in Chip and Dale.
With, I think as well. I still think that was a whole like marketing plan.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, they wanted to finish.
Shit.
They wanted to just make sure they finish the special effects and also get a lot of eyes on their movie. But like the first, I say, it got a lot of hate because of that, and it came out. It was one of the last movies before COVID.
Yes.
And
because I remember like reading Adam Sandler went to watch it and there was no one in there. He was like, he's literally like put a message like,
that's probably because it was Adam Sandler. And they're like, oh god, there's no going over with him. I'll bring it to one of the shit films. I think
it's like a message like Jim Carrey about it. He's like, oh mate, this film's amazing. But yeah, it came out and it was actually a really surprisingly decent movie. It was fun. It was action packed. It had some good leads, and it was good. And then they brought Sonic 2 out, obviously 2 years later.
Yeah.
So everyone was back in the cinema at this point.
Yes.
And this one obviously brought in Tails after the end credit scene. It brought in Knuckles. It brought in a more accurate looking Eggman with the bald head and whatnot, the big moustache.
Super Saiyan.
Oh yeah, obviously the golden Sonic mode.
Sonic, yeah.
Like and even Shadow in the end credit scene.
It actually established the like emeralds.
Yeah, the emeralds and whatnot. It was just such a fun movie. I would literally say it's the best video game adaptation. Then it literally come out 2 months after what I would have hoped would have been like one of the best ones, which was Uncharted. And Uncharted was fun, but Sonic was so much better. And
Yeah.
for me, like in terms of live action, nothing has come anywhere near this. Like, but as I look at this list, the next live action
Yeah.
movie for me is a film called Werewolf Within, which is based on the Ubisoft VR game, and even that still isn't close to Sonic for me. I think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is easily the best video game movie out there.
I mean, for me, it's going to be Detective Pikachu. Because I grew up with Pokemon, and I really bothered with Sonic, and I had little bits of it. I think for me, Pikachu has more the nostalgia side for me, and the fact that we've got to see quite a lot of really good, like realistic looking, like versions of Pokemon. I got to see Bulbasaur, see Greninja, Torterra. We got to see fucking Sneasel and
Ditto!
fucking Ditto.
Which I have a shiny of now on Pokemon.
He
Someone
does,
sent me a shiny. A level 100 shiny.
Is it
We were
one
really-
of them
Really shit name.
fights?
Yeah, surprise trade. It had a really bad name there.
Yes.
But it's a level 100 shiny, so I'm keeping it.
Fair enough.
I got a fucking shiny Fluttermane. So
See, I understand why, obviously, you've chosen Pikachu because of all those reasons.
Yes,
It was
I
an
liked Pikachu.
interesting, entertaining movie, but
for you felt because you fell asleep.
I did fall asleep during it, yes.
Yes.
Ironically, at the same point, kind of fell asleep during it,
Yeah.
which is quite
To
funny.
be fair though, also
We're in
for
sync.
me, Ryan Reynolds as well, wasn't it? Cause
Yeah.
it's Ryan Reynolds. Got the Ryan Reynolds.
Whereas for me,
Mhm.
obviously, as I say, obviously, I've grown up more with Pokemon than Sonic,
Yes.
but I honestly prefer both Sonic movies to Pikachu,
Mhm.
personally. But I do understand why you've chosen it. I can
Yes.
see where you're coming from with it. I'm not gonna be like, I know, I can't see why
You're
you
fucking
choose
mental.
that. Yeah, like that. I'm not gonna be like that because I can actually see where you've come
Like,
from with
like
this.
if I
Fucking
turned around and
dumb.
said, like for turned around, oh, my favourite one was fucking the original Mario Bros. And you're like, you fucking mental.
But, or if I said that and you, like,
I would have.
you would have called
yeah.
me fucking mental. Yes, you would
Yeah.
have walked out of this room right now and never seen me again.
I grabbed the Harlequin bat and he's like, yeah.
What
guessing-
the fuck is wrong
But
with you?
not where you think.
But I'm guessing you're gonna agree with her, Alex.
You know,
He's debating here. Is Wonder Woman in this? He's going to be going down constantly. It's a 2 out of 10. No, it's a 1.5. No, it's a what? Take it or leave it.
you know what? Pokemon Detective Pikachu was absolutely shit.
Really?
No.
I was gonna
You're
say-
just saying that just because I liked it, so you're like, I've got to be different.
I was going to say, we've had video evidence you like expressing your love for this movie.
Yeah.
So, I like Sonic and the Detective Pikachu movies.
Mhm.
I think Sonic 2 was at the same level as the Detective Pikachu for how much I enjoyed it. So them two are my two
Joints.
favourites.
Joints, yeah.
Yeah, because the original Sonic movie was like below, obviously, but I think it kind of with the way that the fight scene at the end with Sonic and Knuckles and Tails
Oh,
versus the big
The big
Robotnik
yes.
fight. It brought back memories of Sonic Heroes.
Such a good fight that was.
But at the same time with Detective Pikachu, like I've never played the Detective Pikachu game. But
Same.
But you've played Pokemon.
yeah,
And it's
I
nice
love
seeing
Pokemon.
those Pokemon in a realistic form.
Yeah,
Like you said, like as arts, you see like on like Pinterest or something. It's like
yeah,
Charizard, but realistic. You get to see their version of it.
yeah. And plus, just it doesn't just show like the most famous Pokemon either,
Yeah,
really.
like fucking
'cause-
Snubble. Fucking
Well, I was
Snubble.
gonna go with Morlo,
True.
like the ones that you forget and all that.
Yeah.
But realistically, for me, the ones that I like at the top of the list aren't live action. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say in terms of films, obviously,
Yeah.
I'd say Sonic 2 is my favourite, but obviously in terms of like overall,
Animated.
it'd be
Yeah.
Last of Us would be the top one now.
Yeah, overall.
But
Mhm.
obviously, if we're looking at just films at this point here,
Yeah.
obviously we've already
So
expressed that.
specifically live action films.
If it'd be obviously
No.
Sonic 2.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
specifically animated movies, it'd be for me the
Dark
Dark
Ride.
Ride Pokemon
Yeah.
movie.
Same.
see, it'd be Pokemon movies for me, but also I was going to say the Bob Burgers movie then, but that's not a game. That's
That's the TV
that's
adaptation.
that's just an animated movie.
She's finally watched it, FYI. She's finally watched it.
Thank God. Now, I kind of like the spin-off Pokemon animations, like the Pokemon Evolutions, Pokemon Origins.
Origins, I was thinking that, yeah.
Origins especially because it's literally Pokemon Red,
The first one. Original.
the exact game, and like you get a bit of hint of like later game stuff like Mega
Yes.
Evolution, like, and you kind of see some Easter eggs kind of in the game as well, in the show. I mean, technically it is a movie. It's not. It's just a multi-part one.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, the other ones as well, like Pokemon Generations. It's got like it goes through. It's only they're like short clips of the
Yes.
games, but it shows so much more detail, and it sometimes goes into backstory of the characters that you wouldn't know from the games without actually looking for it.
Yes.
So
It shows you what you imagined when you were playing the game.
yeah,
During the battles and
yeah,
just like Cynthia and stuff. You're there, like you're imagining it, and it's depicting
yeah.
a more accurate version of what you're thinking of.
Even Twilight Wings as well. That was a good one. There's like a short animated movie kind of thing in multiple little parts again, and it showed like this child going like doing stuff and stuff, and like we got a bit more in depth feel for the Gen 8 Pokemon Dream Leaders and all that. Because we didn't actually get it in the anime.
Yeah.
Also, this is the quietest I've heard Tom in this entire recording.
I'm listening. I'm fully listening to this.
But yeah, that's my kind of like thoughts and feelings on animated movies
They tend to be a lot.
animated
They're a
TV
lot.
shows.
They're a
the best
lot better.
quality, the better.
They're usually more
a lot
faithful.
More faithful.
And usually are
Yeah.
heavily
Yes.
linked. Like I say, the Pokemon movies. A lot of times,
Yeah,
there's a lot of like
Yeah.
they're not fully like continued on from the anime,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of stuff there you can see from the anime.
Yeah, the anime and the film is usually as well. You find the games create stuff specifically for the films and for the animes.
Yeah.
Fun fact:
Yeah.
did you know Lugia wasn't actually made for the Pokemon games?
Mm.
It was made in Pokemon games because of the movie.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why it's got like such a little amount of impact in the games itself. Sorry, just a little fun fact I thought I'd just share.
I'm saying obviously
Quite a lot.
sticking with, obviously say with the
Yeah.
animated ones. Obviously, if you look at
Yeah.
the CGI Resident Evil films I did, there's
Yes.
3 of them. There's 4 coming out as a TV show that did. They're more faithful with the games because they're actually following the game characters
Yes.
Yeah,
in the universe, dealing with the infection in a different part of obviously this timeline. So obviously you got Degeneration, Damnation,
Yes.
Vendetta.
yeah.
Can't remember what the Netflix show was called. The one that you saw the first episode of.
Mhm.
Can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. And obviously you also got Dead Island or Dead something that's coming out soon. It's Dead something. But like stuff like that. I say that's why they do a lot more good stuff with the animated ones because they're a bit more
Yeah.
faithful and not just trying to adapt something to the screen for everyone to enjoy.
I mean, like the Resident Evil ones are basically like just giant cinema cutscenes.
Yeah, basically
Basically.
essentially cutscenes to
Yeah.
the game,
Yeah.
but not. But yeah, there's so many movies and TV shows out there adapted. I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna go through all these.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of these like the TV ones here. There's so many like Devil May Cry, Digimon.
Yeah.
Kirby.
There's some Sonic X, which we've already pointed out earlier. Infinite Darkness, that was the Resident Evil one.
Yes.
There's so many fucking here. Like,
Yeah,
there's just I could go on for hours and hours just talking about this.
especially the Japanese games as well,
That's what I
because
mean.
they've even like, adapted a movie for Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I'm literally looking at like the Japanese anime one. There's like a massive fucking list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then you got the international ones with like the Cuphead show, which is
Angry
pretty
Birds.
good.
yeah,
Angry Birds,
Dragon Age.
Mario movie.
Skylanders.
I remember watching the Dragon
Yeah.
Age one. That was okay.
There's that many on
Like
it.
Final Fantasy and all that.
And then obviously you also got the upcoming ones. According to this, there's an upcoming Watch Dogs
Yes.
thing that's apparently in development. Rayman. Obviously the Castlevania series.
That's true. Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yes,
Damn
like
right.
the Castlevania for me is definitely up there with The Last of Us in terms of TV adaptations. It's
Yes.
definitely up there, and obviously there's a new spin-off series coming soon, which I'm looking forward to so much. You've even got, I said, the live-action TV shows like
Yes.
Halo, Resident Evil, this web series like it's Forward Till Dawn, Mortal Kombat
Yes,
Legacy,
Dragon
Street
Age.
Fighter, Payday. I remember the Payday web series; that was quite fun. And again, upcoming series Assassin's Creed. That's
Yes.
it's in development for Netflix.
Like they've got Genshin coming out as well soon.
God of War
Yeah.
for Amazon.
Yeah.
The Horizon game that's getting
Life is
for
Strange.
Netflix. Fallout that's coming to Amazon, which is already pretty much done. That's made by the same people who made Westworld,
Yes.
so I'm looking forward
Yeah.
heavily to that. Twisted Metal that's coming out. It's a PlayStation game.
Mass Effect.
Pokemon series, obviously Netflix are doing a Pokemon show, aren't they? At some point.
Yes.
Mass Effects. There's that many
Yeah.
on here. Like, we could like talk forever about upcoming ones, and so even like movies. If you look at what upcoming here, obviously you still got Mario to come out. There's a Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
There's a Gran Turismo movie coming out this year.
Hmm.
It stars fucking David Harbour.
Mm.
Isn't that a racing car game?
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah.
They're attempting that again. Obviously, they've looked at like, okay, Need for Speed. Try, let's do Gran Turismo next. So it's got the guy who played fucking the Hopper and Stranger Things in it. There's
Yeah.
obviously also Red Guardian and Black Widow. So you got Sonic the Hedgehog 3 still to come. Borderlands. There's still nothing. Like that's filmed and everything.
Yeah.
Like that's got like it's got Jack Black in it, Kevin Hart,
God,
Jamie Lee
yeah.
Curtis.
Borderlands is going to
Kate
be such a
Blanchett.
fucking crazy one.
I definitely game
It-
fucking
it's just a-
crazy.
I hope they get
Exactly.
it right because I mean
Death Stranding.
it's weird because
If they don't get it right in like certain areas, then it just ruins the entire series.
they've got
And then it kind of puts like the dampener on the games.
it's weird because I got the horror director Eli Roth doing it,
Mm.
and obviously
Yeah.
for reshoots at the moment they've got someone who did Deadpool to do the reshoots for it.
Yeah.
So it's been in development for that long, and they filmed it like ages ago. It's kind of not looking good. The fact that how long it's actually taking it to come out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at this Wikipedia page here. It doesn't even have an upcoming date. It's TBA.
Yeah.
It's something that was announced, filmed a while ago, and it's still TBA on it. That's not a good sign.
Just like the Five Nights at Freddy's.
That's obviously finally
That's
started
done
to happen.
so
though.
many changes.
That's literally just started to be filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never played any of the games, but just for the cast of Matthew Lillard,
yeah.
I'm kind of interested in seeing it. Obviously, you've also got Dead by Daylight recently got announced.
Mhm.
Being produced
Yeah.
obviously by James Wan. Death Stranding.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting because obviously Hideo
Pedro
Kojima's actually working on that film. The guy who made the game.
Yes.
He said there's a lot of differences that's going to be compared to the
Well,
game.
yeah.
Which, like a lot of the action stuff isn't going to be heavily present. But
Yes.
I'm interested to see how they adapt that because it is a weird game to try and adapt. Obviously, apparently there's a Days Gone
Yeah.
movie in development.
So the one were you be like excited for? Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes, that's made by it's going to be made by the same people who did John Wick.
Yes.
People behind John Wick are working on Ghost of Tsushima, so I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
Firewatch, that has been an interesting one. I mean, it's
Yes.
basically just copy and paste the game. It's
Just cause
Yeah.
films.
just
dance
cause.
film.
Yeah, I said that. There's apparently Just Dance film in development.
Oh.
Yeah.
The fuck's that going to be about dancing?
I was looking at like something the other day, and I was obviously
Yeah.
I was reading like Ubisoft adaptions, and it was like Just Dance like got announced like in 2019 the rights were like brought for a movie, and I was like, I'm sorry, Just Dance has got like a movie in development. But anyway, obviously Metal
Metal
Gear
Gear.
Solid, Minecraft, that's been in
Mhm.
development for fucking so long. Mortal Kombat 2 is obviously in early development.
Mhm.
Pac-Man, Portal,
Portal be good.
Silent Hill
Yeah.
again, Saints Row.
Yes.
Streets of Rage. Is that
Space
like, is
Invaders.
it Streets of Rage the fucking one we played?
Yes.
The fucking coppers with the fucking
Yes.
big rocky look. What's so? Obviously, there's another Tomb Raider game. It's
Tom
not on there, but
Clancy.
there's another Tomb Raider one in development.
Yeah.
Tom Clancy ones out there. There's that many, so it can keep going. Obviously, Death Island. That's the Resident Evil one that's coming out.
Yes.
There's so many we could talk about. Obviously, Even though it's not on it, there's probably another Pokemon one in
There's
development.
always gonna be Pokemon.
No, definitely.
They haven't announced anything, but there's definitely going to be another one in early development somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's that many we could talk about in terms of what's to come and like whatnot. But
Really?
like, obviously, before I say like we're going to pick our worst one. If you would pick your worst one, so you're fine. What would you say is the one you look like, especially sort of what we've been saying? Just what would you say is the one like adaptation you're looking forward to the most? Can be TV, can be movies, can be animated.
Yes.
What would you say like one you're looking forward to sort of the most? I do like the idea of Ghost of Tsushima, especially the fact that the John Wick people are behind it. But I gotta go with God of War. I've gotta go with God of War. Amazon have seen what's happened with The Last of Us. They need to get this right. Like, all eyes are now on, can they adapt God of War to TV? Last of Us did it, so they can do it, but can they do it right? Because you need the right cast again. You need good special effects. You need obviously the story's already there, so you don't need to do anything. The story's there for you. You just need the cast, the special effects, and the action.
Pedro Pascal is fucking.
And unlike The Last of Us, the action needs to be a bit more heavy present. Because God of War, yes, there's the emotional arcs, but the action is heavy present in those games, so that needs to be a big top priority. I think fans would be very pissed if the action takes a drop back in a God of War adaptation. Yeah, what are we thinking? What are we thinking, Mewtwo? What do you say?
For me, it's mostly not all of them that interesting. I mean, I'd say like obviously Borderlands would be quite interesting to see. I do want to see what the fuck just Dance is going to be.
Yeah,
Dance is going to be.
Just Dance. I said to Hayden, Just Dance is basically going to be the Step Up movies.
Basically.
Yeah, I can see it kind of being like this person that can't dance and then just learns to dance.
Gonna learn to dance. I'm so good at dancing. Yeah.
Saints Row.
I don't dance. I know you can. Not a chance.
I do. I want to see what the Saints Row film will be like.
So, which one would you pick though?
Saints Row.
You're going with Saints Row.
Yeah, because
if it's still happening.
If it still happens.
Saints Row. Okay. Alex, what are you going with?
I don't know, man.
Suppose you're not picking the Pokemon series.
That's Pokemon.
I mean, yeah, they have been doing some really good hard-hitting ones recently. I'm not looking forward to the Netflix's animated one, but you never know. To be honest, yeah.
But what about the live-action one that Netflix are doing?
See, I haven't seen anything about it. You know,
they haven't. They just announced that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but there's the concept alone. You don't have to go off what you've fully announced or fully seen. I mean, the concept alone.
If the quality is like Detective Pikachu, then it'll be absolutely fantastic. But if it's not, then yeah, I'm looking forward to the Mario movie. Not gonna lie. Like I know it's got Chris Pratt and he's bad at doing Mario voice, but I can look past that. I like the movie from what I've seen. Well, looks like I'm taking your boyfriend on a date to watch it.
Yes!
No. Mate.
Alex, April 5th, I'll see you there.
You fucking nut.
I am kind of interested in seeing that film.
I want to see the film.
Yeah.
It's just, I want Chris Pratt out of the film. Everyone else is fine.
I do want to see that film as well.
Scrap Chris Pratt.
Get
Pedro Pascal.
So you're going with the Mario one, Alex?
Yes, and the Netflix Pokemon live action.
Yeah. Okay.
The Mario and Last of Us. So
it's our turn now, Alex, to pick our worst video game ones.
You know, that's what I was trying to think a lot about.
And I've got 3. Ironically, 2 have the same last name.
Yes.
So for me, the 3 worst video game adaptations out there are, according to this, my bottom is Alone in the Dark. I've only seen that film once, got bored out of my mind, and fast forwarded through it constantly. I was that fucking bored out of my mind. It was shit. It was awful, dreadful. And then we have Doom Annihilation, which I've already stated, so fucking awful, bad adaptation of the game, so shit. And then we have Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is a sequel to the Mortal Kombat movie from the 90s.
Yeah.
And it recast a lot of characters. Special effects were even worse. And it was just so fucking awful. Like, and the newer cast they brought in were just dreadful. Like those three are easily for me the worst video game adaptations, and two of them are fucking sequels. One doesn't even acknowledge the first one. It's its own fucking movie. And it's so bad. Oh. Obviously, there's a lot I haven't seen. Like, I haven't seen Alone in the Dark 2, but I've heard Alone in the Dark 2 is better than Alone in the Dark 1.
Alone in the Dark Annihilation.
Alone in the Dark Annihilation, yes.
I don't know, man. The Mario movie, I guess. That's my cop out. The Mario original movie.
You're not allowed to put your cock out on YouTube, mate. Oh,
Fine.
Sorry, cop out. Sorry. But that also wasn't a great movie.
I don't know. Come back to me. Let me just do some research.
Just go on this Wikipedia page I sent you.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Why is it that? I'm going to say a very underrated one that a lot of people hate and a lot of people shit on. Warcraft. Surprisingly, I've never played the games. Hands down, never played any Warcraft game. So I went into it not knowing any lore, not knowing anything. But as someone who just enjoyed a movie, I've spoken to someone who's never played Warcraft either, and they said the same thing. And it's a very underrated movie, and I'm sad that there's no sequel to it.
Yeah.
It was a visual treat.
Okay.
That had a very good cast, and it was a decent fantasy movie.
Mm.
And it doesn't deserve that 28% on Rotten Tomatoes, I can see right here.
Yeah, I just scrolled past that.
So,
yeah,
Blizzard sucks.
So.
Let's not get into that, though.
Which one sucked? I didn't hear you because he was talking.
Huh?
I can't hear you for this here because he's... What sucked? Blizzard. What you said?
The company, yeah.
Oh, yes, Blizzard suck, yes. When you say now, I was trying to read like movie names. Like I don't see this movie on here. I don't see this movie on here. Yeah, yes, agreed. If found one yet? Found one that you actually remember watching and not just picking randomly because it's got a really bad rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Here's one for you. It hasn't got a rating on Rotten Tomatoes at all. Far Cry. It's got no rating at all on Rotten Tomatoes. It's NA.
I thought it was meant to be one that I've seen.
I'm taking the piss.
Let's just go for the one that we've already reviewed and we already know my thoughts and feelings on it.
Yes.
Wonder Woman Bloodlines, yes.
Yes.
Pokemon, the third movie, the Spell of the Unknown.
Good point. I forgot about them, but to be fair, even including them on my list, that is still beat by these three shitheads, Max Payne and Blood Rain 3.
I'd say an underrated movie, though, would be the Animal Crossing and like the Final Fantasy movies.
I've never watched the Animal Crossing film, so I can't really say anything. But I've seen Final Fantasy, which one was it I've watched? I watched the fucking...
7.
Is it on here? Is it not on here? It doesn't seem to be on here. Kingsglaive. That's the one I've seen in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
The one that's got like a massive, like, it's got like Sean Bean in it, Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've never actually watched the Animal Crossing. I can't even see it on here. Where's the Animal Crossing one on there?
The only Japanese one, because it hasn't actually... It's never been released in the UK or like English-speaking countries.
Animal Crossing. How old is it? Oh, here we go. 2006.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. I found it. Geki. Oh, fucking hell. Geki Joban Dobutsu no Mori. That one.
Yeah.
What the fuck's that even about?
It's literally the original Animal Crossing game, but made into a movie.
Cool.
So you've got like the villager going there, meeting all the villagers, and then getting put to work by Tom Nook.
I kind of want to track this movie down, though.
Yeah.
I kind of want to...
It's honestly a really sweet movie.
I kind of want to track it down, though.
I think there is an English fan dub of it, so...
I'm gonna track this down at some point.
A sweet movie where Tom Nook forces a child into slavery.
Basically.
I'll try and find it for you.
do because I kind of want to watch this. It's kind of
Mm.
I liked the Animal Crossing game when it first came out, the new one.
Yeah.
Give me your hand.
I don't know. I can only see half of her head anyway.
She's like did a weird like movement with my hand like constantly, and it's like keeps dragging my eyes away.
Sorry.
Okay. I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, we could literally go on for hours and hours about video game
Definitely.
adaptations. There's that many adaptations out there. Obviously, we can talk at some points maybe more about specific ones.
Yeah.
But as an overall, it's hit and miss. You can get a good one, you can get a bad one, you can get a mediocre one. And I'm hoping the new Mario one falls into the good category.
Yeah, I believe it. I'd like to hope it would.
I'm gonna guess the Gran Turismo one's gonna fall into the more mediocre category or mediocre to shit category. Because that kind of just came out of nowhere in terms of but then and I saw a trailer for it, I was like, fucking hell, I didn't even know it was being made. But yeah, there's a fingers crossed for that Mario one because it does look good and I want it to be good.
Mm.
See, I think that pretty much covers our talk.
Yeah.
I mean, a bit of an extended one compared to usual.
Incredibly extended.
Well, we had an hour to talk adaptions and 20 minutes to talk Last of Us.
And plus, you've had an extra person who didn't really add anything at the beginning.
Well, you did. You sat there and I got to explain some stuff to you.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, yeah.
Great contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. So that is that. Obviously, you can check out the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, usual podcasting platforms, and of course on YouTube, where you can actually see our ugly mugs as we talk.
Oh, that's so ugly.
But yeah, obviously, in the comments below, put your favourite video game adaptation or your least favourite video game adaptation, and one that you think is underrated. And also put your thoughts on the Last of Us TV show down there. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, what they got right, what they got wrong. You know, and why Pedro Pascal should be cast in a Death Stranding movie as the delivery man. But other than that, obviously, thanks for joining us, Alex, for this.
You're very welcome.
We'll try and get you on for something if we can figure out a topic for us to talk about.
We have to.
Do you have to?
If he meshes and starts whining, I have to.
Oh, fuck.
Look, it's not my fault that the only time that you could actually fit us into a schedule this month was today, or you having to wake up halfway through your bloody sleep for work.
No, technically, it was more the fact that I was going to be audio awake because I was off on holiday. It's more the case of waiting for someone else to wake up so I can actually talk.
Yes.
Get it right.
Lazy bitch.
But yeah, thank you for joining us. Obviously, we hope you enjoyed our little Last of Us review and video game adaptation talk.
Yes.
And so we might down the line try and do more specific video game adaptations to talk more in depth, like we did with Detective Pikachu. And that's why we've done some other video game ones.
Yeah, I think so.
Have we? I don't know. Pokemon movies. Me and Alex did Pokemon movies, so there you go. That counts.
That's agreed.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, that's great. Yes, we did do that. We did the Netflix talk as well, didn't we? On that, we talked about the series.
Yeah, and that was with James.
That was only honestly at the time one of my funnest chat podcasts because it was the one that wasn't reviewing. It wasn't just like giving our thoughts on the movie. It was literally just actually giving our ideas, which I loved. But yeah, you can check all them out, and yeah, so you can check out Alex on Twitch.
Yep.
And yeah, obviously this has been the Chattercade podcast, and we should hopefully see you next time.
Bye.
See ya.